So now we'll just take a look at some of the ligaments of the knee. So what you need to remember about the ligaments is that you have collateral ligaments, cruciate ligaments, and a patellar ligament. So we'll start off by looking at the collateral ligaments. So we've got two collateral ligaments which reinforce the joint on either side. We've got a medial collateral ligament, which is also referred to as a tibial collateral, and we've got a lateral collateral ligament, or a fibular collateral ligament. So we'll take a look at the medial collateral ligament here, and you can see its proximal attachment on the medial epicondyle of the femur, and you can see its distal attachment on the tibia. So it attaches medially on the tibia, just a little bit above the insertion points of the sartorius, gracilis, and semitendinosus. So if I just rotate the model around, you can see the tibial collateral ligament here, and the three tendons of the sartorius, gracilis, and the semitendinosus muscle. So these three tendons are collectively, the tendinous insertion of these three muscles is collectively referred to as the pes and serinus. So these three insertions could be remembered with the mnemonic sergeant, so SGT, so sartorius, gracilis, and semitendinosus. So laterally we've got the fibular collateral ligament, or lateral collateral ligament, and this attaches on the lateral epicondyle proximally, and distally it attaches onto the lateral part of the head of the fibula. So next we've got the cruciate ligaments. So I've just rotated the model around, so we're looking posteriorly at the knee, and you can see these two ligaments which cross over each other. So this is why they're called cruciate ligaments, because the word cruciate comes from the Latin crux, which means cross, and you get other words like crucifix, which just comes from the Latin cross. So you can see how these ligaments form this cross. So this is the posterior cruciate, and the anterior cruciate crosses over like this. So you can see their attachment in the intercondylar fossa. So this ligament here is the posterior cruciate ligament, and its proximal attachment is on the medial wall of this fossa. So you can see this wall of the fossa, so it's medially on the intercondylar fossa, and the anterior cruciate ligament has its proximal attachment on the lateral wall of this intercondylar fossa. So this attaches medially on the lateral condyle, and the posterior cruciate ligament attaches laterally on the medial condyle. So the posterior cruciate ligament is called posterior because it attaches posteriorly on the intercondylar region of the tibial plateau, and if I rotate the model anteriorly, the anterior ligament attaches anteriorly in the intercondylar region of the tibial plateau. So I've just isolated the ligaments so you can see them a bit more clearly now. So you can see how they cross over at the back here. So the function of these ligaments is to prevent anterior and posterior displacement of the tibia on the femur. So you can see because the anterior cruciate ligament attaches anteriorly on the tibia, it prevents the tibia from sliding forward in this direction. And because of the attachment of the posterior cruciate ligament, it prevents the tibia from sliding backwards. So then we've got this ligament here, the patellar ligament. So this is continuous with this tendon above, the quadriceps femoris tendon, and this attaches around the sides of the patella and at the apex of the patella, and it attaches distally to the tibial tuberosity. So you can see that the tuberosity of the tibia. So you've got a medial collateral, lateral collateral, anterior cruciate, posterior cruciate, and a patellar ligament that you need to know about. So lastly, I'll just talk a little bit about the joint capsule of the knee. So the joint capsule of the knee has a fibrous membrane and a synovial membrane. So the fibrous membrane is reinforced by various ligaments. So medially, it's reinforced by the medial collateral ligament, so it blends with fibres of this ligament, and it also attaches to the medial meniscus, which is why the medial meniscus isn't very mobile. And anteriorly, it blends with the patellar ligament, and it attaches to the margins of the patella. And either side, you've got extensions from these two muscles, so the vastus medialis and vastus lateralis, which contribute fibres to this fibrous joint capsule, which are called retinacula. So that strengthens the capsule anteriorly. And laterally, we've got the lateral collateral ligament, so the fibular collateral ligament, but there is actually a space between this and the joint capsule. So there's a bursa underneath the fibular collateral ligament called the fibular bursa, which separates it from the joint capsule. But it is reinforced by this tract of fibres, so the iliotibial tract reinforces the capsule laterally. And if we rotate around to the back, you can see this ligament which sort of arches over the back of the joint capsule, and this is called the oblique popliteal ligament. So this is actually an extension from this tendon. So this is the semimembranosus tendon, which attaches onto the tibia, and it gives off this ligament called the oblique popliteal ligament, which reinforces the posterior aspect of the joint capsule. So lining the fibrous membrane, you've got the synovial membrane, and this attaches to the margins of the articular surfaces and the outer aspects of the menisci. And it's important to note that the cruciate ligaments aren't actually contained within the articular cavity, so the synovial membrane kind of reflects back and doesn't enclose the cruciate ligaments. So the synovial membrane folds in various places to form bursae. So we've got the suprapatellar bursa, which, as the name suggests, is a reflection of the synovial membrane, which forms a bursa above the patella, so supra, meaning above. So we're looking laterally at the knee here, and you can see the patella bone here, and this is the quadriceps femoris tendon here. And the suprapatellar bursa lies in this region, just above the patella. So this is a fold of the synovial membrane. So it also folds to form the subpopliteal recess. So this fold lies between the popliteus tendon and the lateral meniscus. So if I just fade away the muscles, we might be able to... Okay, so you can see this muscle here. This is the popliteus muscle. And if I rotate it around, you can see the lateral meniscus here. So this bursa sits sort of under the popliteus tendon between the lateral meniscus. So another thing to point out is that just underneath the patellar ligament, we have a pad of fat, which is called the infrapatellar fat pad, and this separates the patella from the synovial membrane. So it sits underneath the patellar ligament and separates the ligament from the synovial membrane. So there are a few other bursae worth mentioning. You've got this bursa here, which sits over the kneecap, and it's called the pre-patellar bursa, the subcutaneous pre-patellar bursa. And then you've got this bursa down here, which sits underneath the patellar ligament. So this is called the deep infrapatellar bursae, because you've also got one that sits on top of the patellar ligament, and that's more superficial. So this is called the superficial infrapatellar bursa. And then you've got loads of other little bursa which sit over the tendons and ligaments, but I won't go into detail with all of those. So that's the knee joint.